Hey, I'm Max and welcome to my Unity Basics tutorial on coroutines. A coroutine might look pretty hard to do at first. In fact, I didn't use them for almost 6 months when I started Unity because I thought they would be too hard. But as it turns out, they're really easy. You can think of a coroutine as sort of a function, but with a timer or a condition loop integrated into it. So inside of your function, or your coroutine actually, you can do something like wait until that bool is true or wait this amount of seconds. To give you an example, I loaded up my game from my beginner tutorial, and as you can see, if I click an enemy, it automatically deletes. And just to give you an example of how to do a coroutine, I'll do a coroutine here that makes the enemy fade away instead of disappear at once. It doesn't really fit the style of the game, but doesn't matter, it's just to give you the tutorial. So first off, if you want to use coroutine, you have to make sure you're using system.collections. Your script should be using that by default, so unless you removed it, you should be good on that. So how do you declare a coroutine? Well, first off, just like any function, you have to say private or public. In my case, I'll do private. And the coroutine is a IE numerator, just like this. Then you give it a name, such as fade away. And just like a function, you put the little parentheses and the brackets. Now, if I want to fade away my enemy, I need to get access to the sprite renderer. So I'll do a private sprite renderer. And right here, I'll do get component sprite renderer. Just like that. So when you call a coroutine, it's going to go from the top to the bottom, so it's going to follow the loops and everything, and every time it leaves to wait for a certain time or a condition, it's going to come back at the same place with the exact same variables. So let's say here I create a color, and I set it to my color of my enemy, and then I create a loop while the color.alpha is greater than 0, so until he's faded away. I just have to reduce the alpha color, so let's say minus 0.1, and set it back to the sprite renderer. And once the alpha is at 0, it's going to get down here, and then I want to destroy the game object. So if you did this in a normal function, let's say this was a function and I called it here, it would go through that while all at once, so the enemy would disappear instantly too. But because this is a coroutine, we can wait for a certain condition or time. In my case, what I want to wait for is a certain time, so I'll wait, let's say, 0.1 second. To do this, you just have to do yield, return. Then you can do new, and you can see all the options. So wait for end of frame, so it waits for the end of the frame. That's used, for example, if you want to take a screenshot, you need to wait for the end of the frame. Wait for fixed update, wait for the next fixed update. Wait for seconds, which is what we want to use, and seconds real time. If you're using scale time, like slow motion in your game, you might want to use that instead. And wait until, which is used with a delegate to wait for a condition, and wait while, which is kind of wait until but the opposite, wait while an equation is true. So here, let's say we wanted to wait until the particle system was dead or something like that, we could do wait until, and then for the delegate we can just do parentheses, equals, and then greater than, which is kind of the syntax for that. And here we could do something like particles equals null, so it will wait until the particles are deleted to keep going. In my case though, that's not what I want to do. I don't want to wait for a condition, I want to wait for seconds, and I'll do 0.1. So what this coroutine here is going to do is create a color, and then while that color alpha is greater than 0, it's going to reduce it, apply it to the sprite render, and then wait for 0.1 second, and then it's going to keep going in the loop until the alpha is 0, and then it's going to destroy it. So here, instead of destroying it, we can just do start coroutine, and then we type as a string the name of it, so fade away, and there you go, it should run that coroutine now. Let's give it a shot, let's see what happens when I click on it. You can see it kind of fades away and then gets deleted. So all you need to know for coroutines is how to declare them with the IE numerator. You also need to know how to call them with the start coroutine. And the most important part to understand how it works is every time you do a yield return and then a condition or a time, it's going to go back to Unity and do whatever Unity wants to do, so the fixed update, updates, and all that stuff. And then once that time is done, it's going to keep going, but at the same place and with the same parameter. So the color here is not going to get reset every time it comes back to the coroutine. So this is a very powerful tool, because if we didn't have that, we would have to put the timer at the top here, let's say in the update, and then check if the timer of 0.1 is done, then we update the color, and that color here would have to be a private variable at the top, so it would get very messy. So not only does it make your code more efficient, but it also makes it cleaner and a lot easier to read. It might be scary at first, but trust me, this is so useful. I cannot believe I did like 4 games without using any of this. Hopefully that tutorial was clear enough for you and you learned something, and subscribe if you want.